back. So council has returned from executive session at 7:16 p.m. after an initial executive session of 20 minutes and
extended for 10 and extended for 5.
And an additional extension for 10, followed by an additional extension for 5 minutes. So a total executive session of 35 minutes. No action was taken during that executive session. And as such, we are now back on our, we are out of executive session and we are at item 8A for items for first reading, which is an intertie water easement. And the easement is for real property, not for water, but for real property for the City of Millwood and Urban Water District number 6. I will ask at the conclusion of this presentation if there is any desire for the council to entertain action on this evening. So because this is a legal agreement, Mr. Wurst, do you want to kick this one off?
Sure. So Urban Water District in the City of Millwood currently have a interlocal agreement for an intertie, an emergency intertie. Intertie is basically a valve, for I guess lack of a better term, that allows for emergency use of water in the event the city needs emergency access to Urban's water, Urban needs emergency access to the city's water. That intertie is located in, I believe, in the Butler right-of-way, which would require, in the event to access the intertie, correct me if I'm wrong on any of the descriptions here, by all means matter, Kyle. If the intertie needs access on an emergency basis, it means digging and cutting into the right-of-way or otherwise digging up, which kind of defeats the purpose of an emergency access. Urban has identified some needs to update some of its own system anyway. So in the course of this, there was discussion. They reached out to the city and asked if they could move the intertie to a different location, which would be memorialized in this easement. Currently, right now, the interlocal agreement between city and Urban, it memorializes a contractual right to access water on an emergency basis. It doesn't grant Urban the right to cut into the city's right-of-way or otherwise access the interlocal. It was an agreement that was put together in 1998, kind of on an expedited basis. So Urban approached the city and asked if they could move the intertie, if we could memorialize it in easement, which is exactly what I would have done had I been their legal counsel advising them. So the water intertie easement memorializes an interest in property to grant Urban the right to exercise its emergency intertie contractual rights. It incorporates the existing interlocal agreement in section 7 of the easement, and it does not otherwise affect the rights or the ability of the city or Urban to use water on an emergency basis. It simply locates and memorializes Urban or the city's rights to engage in its and exercise its rights to emergency intertie services. Anything else to add on the description?
No, we're just moving it. We already have one closer to Trent.
Yeah. Okay. Happy to field any questions or.
So questions for Brian or utilities? Just be seated.
I was out and about on the weekend and multiple citizens came to me and said, hey, did you know that they're already doing some water project stuff? Is the project been commenced on already?
No, Urban's putting in a new water main on the east side.
Okay, that's a great clarification we want on record because, yeah, I was like, I've not heard of anything.
They put a T in there to run it over to the intertie, but they haven't done anything.
Okay.
They're just putting in the main right now.
And we did confirm they pulled the right-of-way permit pursuant to city code as well back in August.
And I went up there this morning to make sure they hadn't cut across the road to our property or anything.
Yeah, because I called because I didn't know. I'm getting my
All they're
answer
doing-
right this minute.
All they're doing is putting in the water main right now.
So thank you very much.
I think, currently it's a 6-inch steel line, which, just like is subject, it's smaller for what they need for fire protection on Trent, and I think also it's a steel line, so they're replacing that with PVC. How larger PVC line, so that's part of their water system plan distribution system upgrade.
When they put that new PVC line online, our old intertie is gonna be gone. So we would be losing that emergency supply if needed, and vice versa.
Mr. Stravens, do you have any questions in remote land? You're on mute.
No, he's good.
Okay.
So I do have, oh, go ahead.
So when I look at their he's been 35 west from our pump station. Is that correct?
You skipped out, I didn't hear what you said.
East of the pump station.
So it looks like it went west. He's back.
Hold on, I'll get it for you now.
Our easement.
Yeah, it's south of our pump house, it's
Southeast.
correct. That must be the room they need to put those valves in. Then there's gonna be a vault there. And it also benefits us, it's hooking up the intertie to emergency situation if we need water from them. It's not just giving them, it's not all for them.
But it's not just moving, it's increasing capacity, is that an accurate understanding?
Yeah, cause there's gonna be a vault there.
But we really need it that big for 2.46.
I didn't engineer it.
Yeah, that Kelly, that's what the Irvin's engineer and the city's engineer have identified would meet the necessary needs for the intertie, both from a practical construction maintenance standpoint as well as a regulatory standpoint. So we didn't question that because we would rely on the engineers to provide that information. And that did, our Nisha Mayani was also involved in those discussions.
So basically, so I understand this, we're going from our pump station, we're going east across Butler, into, and we're into
No, we have a water line there that they're connecting.
There's
With
nothing
their
coming
system.
from our pump station. They're tying into our existing water main.
It's on the west side of Butler.
It's on the west side of the so if we look at our, and just that section, and it's not there about the road.
Correct.
I have a question. I understand that they approached us and they voted on this yesterday, but on here, there's a request for for us to bypass the two-touch system. Is this a strategic need or is there like an emergency thing going on?
I would assume it's just because they've got construction going on there right now with the road dug up and stuff.
So, but the construction is related. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I think the concern on the citizens is like, oh, we do the construction. Now you're in a situation where you kind of have to all vote on these things, and that kind of precludes. Why even get our approval if it's already kind of precluded?
It's their construction. It's not
Okay.
our construction. They can't construct the intertie unless we grant them an easement.
Okay.
They are in the midst of construction, and
So it is somewhat unrelated.
it is unrelated. If you don't, if for some reason you would not approve the easement, they don't get an intertie at that location, and we lose the intertie because they are going to take the existing intertie out of service.
Gotcha.
But we are trying to be a responsible partner in the fact that they have construction ongoing. It would be beneficial for them to have some clarity from us if we are going to grant said easement or not.
I guess one of the things I struggle with once we've adopted this two-touch system is the perception is just because somebody wants to stick to the two-touch system, they're blocking the situation or like they're not. People are literally just asking for time to look at some of these things and to understand. I mean, there's a myriad of questions already. And I think that sometimes these contracts come and not everyone's gonna know exactly everything there is to know about these. I had some questions when I was asking. And
I would
it's
say they're
it's
putting,
natural and it's healthy to be able to ask questions about
well,
these
that's why,
things.
cause they're
Yeah.
putting in the new water line right now.
So Mr. Stravens has a question, but before you take that, Kelly, I would say that the reason why staff, myself asked for this because typically council has held to one meeting per month.
Which I've been multiple times saying for months now, we should go to 2 meetings. I think Mr. Stravens has also said the same thing.
When was that, Kelly? When did you say we go to 2 meetings? I don't remember that. But what I will say, I would disagree, Kelly. I would disagree. What I will say is that if we need,
So when did
The easement was drafted, there, what, 2 weeks ago?
when did they pull the permit?
August 26th, I looked today.
21st was the date it was submitted.
Yeah, 26th was when it was granted.
here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. Staff knows the city council has a two.
Well, we did not have an intertie agreement presented to us until end of August, after the August council meeting. So this is the first available meeting we have for this to be presented to council.
Dennis, council person, I would say that we do a special meeting.
Then, so I would, are there further, okay, so hang on. Are there further questions from council regarding the agreement or anything right now that need clarification either from legal or from utilities?
Yeah, I was just, so when Nisha's already said these plans are good, it's from our side as the city.
Yeah.
And it looks like the easement goes around. So Kelly, the easement is 46 by 35, and they've given themselves 8 feet. It looks like 8 feet, 5 feet, and maybe 6 feet around their pump house. Is that what you guys would think?
That's kind of what it looked like, I guess. I don't have it. Oh, you got plans.
So I'm just wondering if that seems reasonable. It seems reasonable that they need access around their pump house.
It seems reasonable. It seems reasonable, I just don't like to dictate that.
No, Kelly, I don't disagree. That I mean, even if we didn't have a meeting, they could have sent the information out earlier.
Exactly. And I didn't get this information until Friday evening.
Easement was finished on Thursday of last week. I couldn't get to it earlier that week because my wife was in surgery, guys.
Understood.
My fault, my apologies.
No, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
No, and I apologize. It's not about council, it's about the public.
So,
Having information to the public.
so the
And council to figure out things.
So the request was made by myself through at the request of Irvin to ask if you would take action. You wish to table taking action, this is a first reading. It sounds that we could have a special meeting the week of September 22nd to then consider this. Am I seeing from, I know Mr. Van Hees is in here, but from the four of you?
So what's the minimum time between meetings? We only have to be able to notice a special meeting, correct?
Special
It's
meeting,
24
24 hours.
So we could come back this Thursday in 2 days and approve this.
If that is, if,
I think the point is that people are trying to take the time to like get into it, figure it out. I mean, so yeah, you're right. That is correct. That is a factually correct statement. But I also think that I would be more aligned with what Councilmember Stravens is saying, and I think this punctuates exactly why we should consider having 2 meetings, because forcing a back-to-back 24-hour decision is not that much better than, I mean, we've had this for like a couple minutes, and a lot of the questions I asked that I reached out on Friday evening just got answered 5 minutes ago.
so,
Why don't we do Tuesday the 16th?
I'm out of town next week.
Friday the,
well, that's not, so if the intent is to give individuals time to review this, Friday the 12th is awful soon too, in the spirit of that conversation. We have one council member out the week of the 15th. And so it sounds like that prior to the 26th, that week of the 22nd, we could have at least 4 council members here for a special meeting. Andy's Andy. The other option is that we can set a meeting for the week of the 15th, and that's up to council. It would be your special meeting. So it's when you wanna set the date. But we can, at this point, I think to keep things moving, we understand that we're not gonna take any action on it right now. We can look at we can look at setting when we set our next meetings, because we also have to talk about how we wanna handle the, November regular meeting, because that's on Veterans Day. And it is, we can have it, or if we wanna push it, we need to push it, understanding that if we do push it, it would be a special meeting. But we can talk about both of these. So for now, what I would say, if there are no more questions from council, this is the first reading of this easement, with the understanding that there is a request to address this sooner than later, and so we can look at setting a special meeting when we set our meetings later. Is that sound good from council?
Sure.
Alright, so that brings us to the amended agenda, which is the item that was amended agenda, which is for first reading, which is the scraps interlocal agreement. This was provided to us by Spokane County. It includes, in the packet that is of this, is the interlocal agreement itself with attachments for costs, etc. Who serves on the advisory board, so it is a complete update to the current interlocal agreement. There is also a presentation that is attached to the back of that was prepared by the county. The county stands ready if we would like to ask anybody from the county to come out and discuss this. They can. They are looking for jurisdictions to ratify this early in October. And so it would be considered, so I would guess that if you felt that if somebody looks at me or somebody looks through this and has questions for the county, I would urge them to get back to me. I will reach out and request, and if we do set a special meeting, perhaps we can also have the county come at that special meeting.
From your review though, is this essentially just a continuation of our
No, there are some
substantive changes?
There are some substantive changes. As we all know, there has been some changes at scraps of late. I believe that this memorializes the county's new thinking to how they handle interlocal agreements. There's also some, as you read through there, there's also some significant funding issues with respect to scraps and how jurisdictions pay and some reworking of costs. It changes our costs a little bit, and by a little bit I think it was, and my apologies for that, I should have had that circled. I think it changes ours by, hang on one second real quick. There's a difference of about, there's a difference of about, a little less than $1,000, about $900 there that it would change our costs. But all of the agreements, all the current ILAs expired either in 19 or 20.
And when you say it changed by 1,000, I see the definite variance, but I don't know what the time period is. Is this a monthly, annual?
This is the annual cost.
Okay,
We pay scraps quarterly. Yes, quarterly or twice a year. We do pay monthly?
So it's $1,000 more a month?
No.
It's 500 something.
Yeah, it would so 900 divided by 12.
Okay.
That's what the change would be from a monetary standpoint. I would urge you all to read through there from the change from the ILA standpoint. It does strengthen some things from the county perspective. All right, so that will be that will come back to you at the regular October meeting with understanding that there will be a request for action at that meeting on this ILA. So as I said, if you do have questions for county or want a presentation, please let me know. Let's see. So we are now at, that concludes our items for first reading. We are now at our items for consideration. First is our consent agenda consisting of the August 2025 regular meeting minutes, the 2025 treasurer's report, the 2025 claims, the 2025 payroll, and the 2025 Good Neighbor Day proclamation. Does anybody wish to take any of those items separately?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none opposed, consent agenda is passed unanimously. Thank you. And that brings us to ordinance 547, amendment of Millwood Municipal Code 1205-070 permit fees. Who has that one? Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is no revisions from last meeting. This is just a cleanup to remove a specific reference to remove a reference from the city code to a specific fee amount and refer back to the fee schedule that the city council has adopted in the past. So it's a cleanup. Happy to answer any questions, but simply revises 1205-070 to remove a specific reference to $35 and references the fee schedule, which will come back to the council on an occasional regular basis for review.
Questions for Brian, anyone?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 547 as presented.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none opposed, ordinance 547 is passed unanimously. That brings us to 9C, ordinance 548, amendment, is that amendment or this is ratification, isn't it?
It's creating.
Creating. So we are not amending, we are creating chapter 2.04, setting a finance committee for the city of Millwood. Brian, you wanna handle this one real quick?
Well, we are amending chapter 2.04,
Yeah.
which is the city council chapter of the code, but we're amending it to create a new specific reference to codify the creation of a finance committee of the city council. We've had an informal practice historically of having a finance committee review various financial practices and documentation. This formalizes the finance committee, sets out certain duties of the finance committee, and also then allows the finance committee to create policies and procedures to guide it in the performance of its duties.
Questions on this?
And I should just reference, I appreciate the work of Councilmember BC, Councilmember Collar, and Mayor Freeman in helping kind of draft, promote, and push this one along, so.
Any question? Oh, Mr. Shermans.
I don't have a question, discussion, so I think that this is necessary for oversight of staff, and constituents who have confidence in the city, and who we have, and we have. Advice on. So I think this is necessary. The city council issues.
Any other comments or questions?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 548, regarding the chapter 204 finance committee.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none opposed, ordinance 548 is passed unanimously.
And I wanna thank Brian for bringing the templates forward that allowed us to develop this.
In furtherance of this, we're working on various policies and procedures for the city to come forward. That's been a directive of the mayor for quite a while to bring documents forward. So we've kind of got things codified as there's a change in administration. So we're working on those.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to be excused for the meeting. I'm late for another call.
I understand. Thank you very much for participating. So please let the record note that Mr. Sander has departed at 7:43 p.m.
I will be out of town next week, but on Eastern time zone, but I can call in if absolutely necessary for a short meeting.
Understandable. Enjoy yourself.
9 p.m. 9 p.m. 9 p.m.
That concludes our action items for consideration. With the departure of Mr. Sanders, we still have a quorum available, but we have moved into section 10, which is our reports. There's no action as part of these reports. So first up is Treasurer, Mr. Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll keep it brief. One thing I want to scraps is approximately $600. So.
Total, but not the increase, right?
No, currently. Current. Okay. I'm attending the MRSC boot camp with our administrative assistant Clark Kenzie Roderick, and it's interesting sitting there with a new person. She goes, "This is like taking a drink from a fire hydrant," and so it has confirmed a lot of things that I have dealt with in the past, and I have learned some new stuff. I am footing the bill for my attendance. It's on me, it's not on you. So the treasurer's report is a monthly snapshot, and I have reconciled all of the bank accounts, so it is much shorter than last month. I've cleaned up a lot of those, and I'll continue to do that. I provided you a separate piece of paper. The treasury report is just for 1 month. What I'm trying to do is get you a year to date. So I have August, last year to date, August 31 of 2024 compared to August 31 of 2025. So you can see the difference. The major difference is we're getting significant grant money and we're having significant expenditures related to the road project. So that's the difference between 24 and 25. And then the last column is budget, estimated budget through 8/31 of 25. So that gives you at least a snapshot for the year, whereas the treasury report is just every month out of whack. I'm still working on making that work faster. It didn't take me too long, and there can be some timing issues, depends on when I pull the information for the year to date versus the treasury report. I'm still working on that. I'm working with the mayor and keeping our available funds to front, prepay all of the construction costs while we wait for reimbursement from WashDOT. And that takes, it's a good 45 day lag. So we're reducing, longer term investments, getting those shorter term, and then we move it into usable funds to pay our bills while we wait for WashDOT to reimburse. That makes sense. I am working with the mayor and Jared Walsh, that banner. I think that's about it.
And actually, right now, shorter term investments have a higher rate of return than longer term investments. So it is better to be in short term investments than long, as we are right now. Any questions for Dave? Kelly?
Dave, just want to say.
Thank you.
So, Clerk, Public Records Code Enforcement, Ms. Castles.
I don't know if I have a lot. We've just been really busy. Kinsey's in training and Dave's in training this week, so we're a little light upstairs. Lots of calls. The last week and this week, just lots of calls. Kinsey and I did Millwood Days for Amanda for her periodic update. Sam helped us set up, which was great. We had a good time there. And Kinsey and I sent out the last letter for the backflow test. We sent out 40 shut off notices. I don't know. It's high this year. I don't know why, but they're trickling in very slowly. So I'm a little nervous about September 23rd. We may have a bunch. Doing lots of right-of-way permits, fence permits, and starting to try and figure out how to do budgeting, which I've never done before. So not in my personal life nor this life. So it'll be a new thing all the way around.
Sorry.
Yeah. So that. The one property that you had voted for to do abatement on. I spoke with Larry Garvin, and it sounds like he's been in touch with him. He's ready to start the process, and it sounds like that they're in the works of selling to one of these, blow-by houses, and so he is giving them some grace to hopefully get that process done, which would save the city a lot of effort and money. So hopefully that all works out, but that's where that stands.
Larry's one of my partners, does litigation, has done some code enforcement and abatement work for the city in the past, and understands and appreciates the city's historical practice and policy towards code enforcement, which is if we can work a little additional time to obtain compliance and payoff of the amounts is better than suing. So that's kind of the approach that we continue to take.
Questions for Lisa on anything we have ongoing in those realms? Alright, so our public facilities, Mr. Shiwi.
Well, you got more than you probably wanted on the Argonne project update from Cody, so I'll leave that alone. Just know that I've been spending a fair amount of time out there, and with all the hiccups, their schedule has been turned 180, and we've found ways to move on and do other work and keep everything flowing. And considering the hiccups, it's gone surprisingly well. And so we're hoping that it continues on. It looks like it will, knock on wood. The pool wrapped up. It's a very limited schedule with our one partial lifeguard we had left. The splash pad will remain open for at least a couple more weeks as long as the temps stay warm. The guys and I wrapped up the merry-go-round last week and it's up and running perfectly and kids are enjoying that. I had a couple of spots in the park hydro-seeded to repair some damages from extensive stump and root grinding we did on the east side of the tennis courts from one of the tree removals during our DNR grant. And another spot directly north of the playground equipment where we were traveling in and out with backhoes and equipment to get the merry-go-round in. So we got those all patched up. On the trail, I've been doing a lot of computer work and legwork with electrical distributors trying to find the different components to put the trail light back together that one of the farmers market vendors ran over. And I think I got all the key components from multiple different vendors nailed down, and I just need to get a price on the actual installation, and I should have something put together for the guy's insurance on that. And it turns out that the lighting pole for that, just like all our other lighting stuff, is, I think it said 14 to 16 weeks out. So, shouldn't be surprised. That's pretty much all I got.
Questions for Kyle? So, Ms. Tanyo has provided her report. Sorry, Matt. I thought he was going to get off light. Let's go back to Matt. Mr. Erdahl on utilities.
All the water samples came back good this month. Bigfoot came out, they replaced our dialer for the telemetry. Quit working. Pacific Power was out, they did the 6-year cooling service for the generator at Old Park. And we got Aquadrone was out, and they inspected the inside of the tank, and that looked pretty good. He wouldn't give he wouldn't say how it looked, but he gave me the assumption it looked good. So I sent that off to Will Comer to take a look, but he advised maybe 2 more years, get it checked out again. But looks good inside there. I got the results back from our radium-228 and PFAS samples we took from New Park, and those were both good. Then I took IOC, VOC, herbicide, pesticide samples at Old Park and Butler, and took a PFAS sample from Butler, and I'm still waiting on those results. Sewers flowing.
Correct.
Downhill.
Any questions for Mr. Erdahl? Not seeing any, so now we'll move on to planning. Again, sorry, Matt. Ms. Daniel's report is in there. She did want me to specifically say that Millwood Community Association, particularly Shireen Young, has submitted the application for the Washington Main Street community affiliate for affiliate status. That is currently under review, so we will hear more about that, and we will be hopefully working with them in the near future. So that was a good thing, and we are to deliver high praise to Ms. Young in her efforts of getting that done. So thank you to Shireen for that. That's all I was going to iterate for Amanda on that. So that moves us to legal. Mr. Worst?
Nothing substantive report. Just wanted to add that the firm hired an associate who's been a legal intern for us for 2 years, Savannah Kotkin. She's actually done work for the city in the background, finished the bar exam, and I have recruited her to eventually, I ride off in the sunset to assume my practice, which won't be for a long time according to my budget. Savannah will probably, we're gonna arrange a time to meet with the mayor. She's gonna be doing some work for the city, and hopefully she can start attending some city council meetings in the future just to kind of observe, see how they roll, see what we do. Super excited. Local kid from Gonzaga, and just has a really awesome personality and work ethic. And those are things you can't teach. So really excited to have her.
Awesome.
So.
Any questions for Mr. Worst? Mayor's report. It is budget season. We sent out the budget call letters both to staff and to council and commission chairs asking council to begin, or staff to begin to prepare their budgets, and council members or commission chairs to supply, ideas of expenses if there are any. If you have anything, as a council member, please get that in, and we can get it distributed to the proper staff so they can review that. Try to be as flexible in there, but, as you said, concrete proposals or specific proposals are better than general proposals. As always, I would ask, council members to remember that it is budget season, and so depending upon how we handle, things, we would look at, perhaps one special meeting, as is always, but always depending on how it goes, there might be more. We have had a number of folks beginning to attend training. Kinsey is training through Springbrook on the different modules, for operation there, getting up to speed on that. Lisa's also taken some Springbrook training, so she is, becoming more fluid and on some of the, reporting and, utility modules. Kinsey is at MRSC training for financial management boot camp, and she will also be attending in October the, class provided by the, bars by the state for the, bars accounting system. With respect to, a full-time, financial manager who would, potentially be appointed to the treasurer position, I am working with a recruiter on that right now, and we hope to have the, finalized job description, which I would say thank you to both Mr. Wurst and, Mr. Armstrong in working through that job description, getting that, posted and out and, on the system so we can start to generate, candidates on that. And that is, other than working on some, things that we have noticed in the ordinance through passing with other ordinances that in the code that we have done through the passing of other ordinances, there probably will be a couple iterations of some ideas on some code cleanup for some things, taking some things out that are kind of zombie pieces of the code, moving some sections around. One of the things is that that has come to the attention is that historic preservation is the historic preservation ordinance that sets historic preservation council is buried in section 15, and it really should be in section 2 of the code, because that's where we keep our commissions, things like that. So that's one item. There are a few other items like that that would at least make things more readable. With respect to historic preservation, you did receive, can I borrow that one real quick? That's all right. The finalized document, the Historic Millwood Resource Guide, which was drafted by the Historic Preservation Commission and vetted and gone through by Mr. Wurst, and this will now be published on the website and available as hard copy for folks who need that. This is the guidance that is out there for folks living in the historic area or any other area of Millwood for that matter, on how for recommendations for improvements, repairs, and modification of Millwood's homes and structures. So that is out there. It was a long effort by the Historic Preservation Commission. We appreciate their patience on that and their work, and it is a very good document. So we are thankful to them for their work. And that is my mayor's report for this month. Any questions for me? Excellent. So I don't think we had any information in council information, so nothing was in there this month. Public remarks. Public remarks are the opportunity for citizens to address the council, either in person or by submitting their remarks. We ask that our in-person speakers limit themselves to 2 minutes and follow the citizen participation guidelines. Do we have anybody signed up?
Tina says no.
We have no one signed up. So, anyone who would like to make public comment, first call for public comment. Second call for public comment. Third and final call. Seeing none for public, remarks, I will do that till I am done. Public remarks, nobody there, and so council remarks, let's go to Mr. Stravens in the ether.
So, thank you very much for that. Very commendable, very that's great. That's spectacular. Council administrators will be asking for 2 meetings per month during our next special meeting. Naturally, for how long?
So Kelly, just without getting combative, what you're asking for is for the next 6 months, council have 2 meetings per month, one of them being a special meeting.
No, I'm asking. I guess we can go.
So then at the next meeting, we would have to bring before the council an ordinance for changing the Millwood Municipal Code to establish 2 regular meetings per month.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so we'll work with Mr. Wurst and have that at the.
What days do you want them? Obviously, we have the first Tuesday, or excuse me, the second Tuesday. On the third Tuesday.
Second and fourth
Should we just,
Tuesday?
Second and
Kelly,
fourth.
should we discuss this at the next regular meeting when Andy and Dan are here?
And when you're in person, Kelly?
Yeah. I would like it in place. I would like it on the agenda when we discuss it.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
So, yes, it must be the agenda. And have them try first reading.
Okay.
I'm trying to talk.
Alright, so we will work through that. Mr. Sanders out, Mr. Van Hees, let's do Mr. Color. Comments.
Just thanks to staff and thanks to the guys for keeping the Argonne project moving ahead despite the strike. Kind of hard to do things without mud.
Ms. BC.
So I wanna welcome, I apologize, Lisa, who's the person sitting next to you, our new assistant? Lexi, is that it? Kinsey. Well, welcome, Kinsey, and it's exciting to have you aboard and taking the financial boot camp. And I also want to thank all staff, including, of course, Kyle, who's doing some heavy lifting around the streets, and Matt, who's doing all the heavy lifting around our water situation. I have 3 items. First, thank you, Mayor, for and Council for bringing in the Good Neighbor weekend or Good Neighbor Day proclamation. Out in the water bills came out a schedule for our 3 days of events. I will also be bringing all those to the local businesses, and so please broadcast widely all the different events that we have going on. I really am super excited with how the community has stepped up and provided all these wonderful events for our citizens. Number 2, on June 9th, 2025, the Millwood Neighborhood Advocates actually sent in a formal letter asking us to revisit the $50,000 approval that the discretion that the mayor, not any individual mayor, all Millwood mayor, would have. And one of the reasons why we initially voted that in a few years ago was because we were only meeting once a month and there was these huge lags. And if we're going to be moving towards the direction of having 2 meetings, I would agree with us looking at that and potentially having that as a point of discussion of bringing that back from the $50,000 to the $25,000 range. Again, not for now, forever, you know, especially if we're meeting twice. So that's been brought up by multiple citizens. Multiple people signed this document, and they have not heard a lot of feedback about it at these meetings and such. And then the last thing is, I've been receiving a lot of comments from different residents around our deputy. People say, I really love the new presence of all the different cars, but I actually could not point out Deputy Ball in a lineup if I had to, and so wanting to meet the deputy. So I have been working with him behind the scenes, and we will be out on Friday afternoon up and down the business corridor. We'll be meeting in the driveway or the parking lot behind Bottles and walking the central business district, but also want to invite different citizens to come out, and he's aware that invitation is being extended to be showing up, you know, at Bottles or the Rocket or any of those places. If you just want to do a meet and greet, a, you know, handshake type of situation. He's only got a couple hours to afford with us, but I know that that's been a welcome invitation from the community.
Excellent. Any other comments?
Thank you.
Excellent. So, our council remarks. We don't have any announcements, I don't think. So set next meeting. So we have a couple things. So the next regular city council meeting is set for October 14th, Tuesday at 6 p.m. We had a discussion as part of the easement for a special meeting to consider that easement outside of the regular meeting. The week of the 22nd was thrown out. Is that what council members would like to consider for that special meeting?
That is preferable for me.
I would do Friday, just to get it done.
So this Friday the 12th.
This Friday the 12th, like Kelly suggested. Kelly, didn't you mention the 12th, Friday, doing a special meeting for that easement?
I'm fine with the 12th or doing either way.
What time would that be?
5 p.m.? 6? 5.
So 5 p.m. on Friday. First of all, I would say that we're down 2 council members, so we should probably confirm with Mr. Van Hees and Mr. Sander if they can make it, and I am not available, so that will be somebody. I don't have to be here. Somebody else can do it.
Councilperson Macy, are you available Friday?
I mean, it's not ideal. I thought we had zeroed in on something, and I actually had hold. I'm just gonna say I'm really pro 2-touch. I think people need time to look at these things, and I feel like I have really gone to bat. If there's ever been an operational issue, I have never held it up. But this has been like an 18-month churn, and I'm told that like we are the last people to adopt a 2-touch. So I understand the rush, the need for a rush, but it kind of negates the whole thing because as Kelly says, it's not just about us, it's about the public also getting a chance to look at things. I'd be more inclined to figure out a way to do it the other week and call in like apparently Dan's going to do it, than to rush it this week when the mayor's gonna be out. We don't even have 2 council people that have an opportunity to say if they're available. We talked about doing it the week of the 22nd, which I'm available the whole week. And if you guys throw out dates the week before, I will make every attempt to call in if I'm in a serviceable area.
Could you, so Councilperson Macy, could you do the 16th at 6 p.m. or
The 8th?
The 16th, Kelly?
Oh. Let me. Well, so next week, the 16th, 15th, 16th, and 17th, I'm out in all these rural communities all around Washington State. So it really is a matter of, am I in a serviceable area?
And how about the 18th?
The 18th, I'm going out to dinner because I'm part of a faculty recruitment team. I mean, that's why I was saying, yeah, 19th I can do.
Sean?
Sure.
19th at 5 p.m.?
Sure.
If you want me remote, I have a presentation in front of the legislature on that day.
All right, fancy fancy.
And we don't have a clerk.
Or we
Yeah,
could
just-
just
we
do
have
that
to have
week of
a-
the
we have to have
22nd that
a-
we've talked about like 3 times now. Agreed.
Okay, so Monday the 22nd, we will set a special meeting for Monday the 22nd. That means that we have Mr. Stravens, Ms. BC, and Mr. Culler committed to that. That would be a minimum quorum for action.
1700 or 5 o'clock.
What time?
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Special meeting, 5 p.m., September the 22nd. So the last question before this body is the November meeting, which falls on Veterans Day, a holiday. Is there any desire to move that meeting off of Veterans Day with the understanding that that would mean a special meeting, so the agenda would be fixed, there would be no fluidity. Otherwise, we can hold, and just because it's a holiday everywhere else doesn't mean it has to be a holiday here. You can hold the meeting on a holiday if you wish,
I think we should move to Wednesday.
with the understanding that it's a special meeting.
Yes.
Okay, so we will cancel the November.
Councilperson BC, what do you think about November 12th?
I can definitely make that work.
And I can too.
Well, do you want me to poll your other 2 council members?
Yeah, I think that'd be reasonable.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's fine.
All right, so if we look like we have a quorum on the 12th, we will go ahead and we will set that. You will have the opportunity again to revisit that in October, but it's probably, since we're moving a regular meeting and not adding a special meeting, it's probably a good idea to start that process now.
And can I, since it sounded like Councilmember Stravens actually wanted us to have some kind of, the actual ordinance, is an ordinance required for a temporary trial of 6 months of a new thing? Cause I think that's what he's saying. He's saying, we don't know if we wanna go to two times a month, but I wanna do a 6-month trial is what I heard him say. And
That's what I'm saying.
go ahead.
The only issue with that is they are special meetings, so you are locked into what's on the agenda. They're not free-ranging discussions like what you're able to have here.
Okay, so that's good. Thank you for this information. This is why we have discussions. So Kelly, does that match your needs? Because he's saying that when you declare a special meeting, you have to be crystal clear and there's no chances to move it, or do we wanna just go ahead and move with an ordinance to trial 6 months, and then we can always renege the ordinance at the end, but it would allow us to iron out what a normal meeting would look like.
Let's put it on the agenda so all of us discuss.
Perfect.
Alright, so on October the 14th, we will have a first touch of an ordinance that would propose to add a second regular council meeting for the Millwood City Council.
Is there a tolerance to have a first touch of us looking at the policy that generated the $50,000 threshold in union with that? Cause I've really been holding off on this because I understand you can't go a month, but now if we're gonna be approaching 2 weeks, I do think for reasons we should look at the budgetary concerns of the citizens.
I agree. Let's put that on the agenda as well.
You got that one?
I guess we're changing a resolution.
No, they want to change the signing authority.
Okay, so that'll be a resolution.
Okay, so we will prepare a resolution for first touch to change the authorization of the mayor, signing authority of the mayor. We'll leave that number blank. You guys can go anywhere from 0 to $1 million.
Well, it was 25,000 for like years and years and years.
And so we can do that one, and we'll have that. So that is our next regular meeting. That is our November meeting. We will look at polling folks on that, and we have a special meeting set for Monday, September 22nd at 5 p.m. At this point, I do not believe there is any more business before this council, and so at this time I would ask for an adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.